That's what's called in the subculture term a bad plea. He took a bad plea.
Took a bad plea. I've heard that terminology before.
allocuted.
I think everyone has. Yeah.
The best analogy I could use is for the masses.
Mm-hmm.
You know The Sopranos, right?
Yep.
Remember when what was the character's name? Johnny Sack.
Johnny Sack.
Sack, yeah.
Took a plea for 15 years, but he allocuted. You seen that?
Mm-hmm.
That's towards the end.
Why they were so upset? They looked at him as a rat. Why he took the 15 years? Because he wouldn't have got the 15 if he had not allocated.
He would have got what, life? Probably in that
Well, here's
situation.
depends. They come to, let's just, again, go back to the three of us have a case.
Yeah.
God forbid. And you're the one facing life.
Mm-hmm.
We're all facing life, right?
Okay.
But they come to, they go, Sonny, we'll give you a plea for 15. And the lawyer says, you have to allocate. If you don't take it, you're going to get life. So in the movie, the way the Sopranos depicts it, the best way I could describe it, which is not all accurate either, but it was damn near close.
Yeah, I'm
right?
sure it is.
You take the 15 years, but it's a bad plea. Now, you didn't sit on the stand against us.
Right.
You didn't point the finger at us. You didn't testify, but it's just as good.
It's the same thing at that point, right?
You took a bad plea.
Same result.
Now you do your time.
Yeah.
15 years.
Right.
You're thinking, well, I did my time. You know, this guy's a stand-up guy. No. That's what I mean.
Same thing.
You know how many guys are walking the yard or how many guys came home that took a bad plea?
Really?
A lot.
Hmm.
More than
We'll have to get into some of that at some point.
More
too.
than the so-called rats that you call
that we know
like
about.
me,
Yeah.
like me and others that, you know, all this rat, this, that, almost all this other stuff. Well, you know what? How about the guys that allocated? How about the guys that are CIs on the street? How about the guys that are the mob rats that'll get you killed? How about the guys that are the jailhouse rats?
I got to say, those guys are worse than the guy who said, I'm coming in because you put a hit on my father. I'm just throwing that out there. Like, honestly, like you want to talk truth. You want to cut through all this BS and get to the truth.
They'll never, let me tell you something. They will never, here's what guys will do, all right? I know what I would do. If I was on the street and I heard about me, I would never admit to you in person that, because nobody could condone what I did.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, nobody likes a rat.
Okay. Right?
Let's get that out of the way.
Yeah.
Right? So they'll never publicly condone what I did because they can't.
Inside, they know I would have done the same thing.
I guarantee you, I lay everything I got behind a closed door when they're thinking whatever, because they weren't in that situation. That if it was them, what would they do? What would you do?
It's a great question.
When I asked Vlad,
Yep.
Vlad TV, when I was interviewing,
Yeah. He said he'd do the same exact thing.
I'd have done the same thing.
Intelligent guy. He didn't answer me the first time.
No. He avoided
No, he
the
did
question.
at the end.
He avoided me.
No, he asked him a couple times.
He avoided
That's
the
right.
question in the beginning of the interview. But at the end of the day, look at him. 6 million followers, around 15 years, very successful, very intelligent. He didn't have to put himself out there.
He didn't have to say a thing. He could have just avoided that forever.
He could have just been neutral or just say nothing. But you know what? The guy was genuine. He was honest. And he said, you know what?
The question. He didn't have to answer your question.
I would have did the same thing, and I respect your decision. Now, I don't have a crystal ball, but I can see in the street how this all plays out. Let's say we're me guys, right? You have to knock me. You have to talk about me. You have to call me names. You have to put me down because you got to show you're against that.
Yeah.
Right?
Loyalty.
You don't believe in what you did. You got to show that.
Now, if you're asked the same question that I asked Vlad, what would you do? Right? For the guy who says, don't ask me that, what is he really saying?
He agrees with you.
What if the guy says, I don't know what I would have did?
Well, I'm going to sit
What's
by.
he saying?
Well, you take out my family, annihilate my pets, do whatever else because I took a blood oath to somebody who's going to stab me in the back.
Let me ask you this. Okay. think about if I asked everybody that question, let's say what I asked Vlad, what would you do? Okay. I'm not talking about the trolls that, keyboard warrior doesn't want to show their face, doesn't want to come forward, doesn't want to do that. Forget that. Like Vlad said, everybody's a super gangster on the internet. But when it comes to real
He did
life,
say that, yeah.
when it comes to real life situation,
yeah.
I faced life multiple times. I was supposed to be dead multiple times. I've been in real life situations, so I could speak from where I come from. But let's just say this. Let's say you're on the street right now, you're a made guy, you're active or whatever, right? And somebody asked you the same question I asked Vlad. Now, he's only going to come up with a few answers. Either he's going to say, let's play this out. Either he's going to say, don't ask me that. What is he really saying?
He's saying he don't want to tell you how he really feels.
He's saying he can't say it because if he does, he feels like he's going to be a target.
Number two, guy answers, I don't know what I would have did.
That's the same answer.
That's the same answer as the first one, yeah.
That answer would be, well, I don't believe it.
I would have never done that. It wouldn't have been. Yeah.
I don't believe it. I think it's just an excuse.
Yeah, they would twist it around.
Or they say, I would have let him get killed.
Your old man? Who's going to say that? You're a cold ass.
That's what I'm saying.
Cold heart.
Right. So I look at it and I say, what would you do? So it's easy to say, oh, there's no excuse. He's using it as an excuse, this, that. You know what?
Nobody's
I'll say this till I die.
You'd have to be in that situation to really make that.
Had I wanted to flip, okay, if my mind was on flipping, I had 100 opportunities to flip. Why would I go to the extent of getting arrested, staying in jail for 2 years, pre-trial? Does that sound like a guy to you that's his intent is to?
No, that wasn't your first thought ever.
You could have flipped 2 years ago and been out after 60 days.
Right.
No, that wasn't your intent.
Right, but at the end of the day,
they gave you a reason. They really did. I mean,
No, I think they forced his hand. I wouldn't say they gave him a reason. Because, you could give me 1,000 reasons to do something. Unless you push me to the point where I have no choice.
I don't know.
Right? So
telling me you're going to whack my father?
Exactly.
That's enough.
You're going to come out
for me
and
to
put
make
a hit out on my father? I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to do whatever I got to do. If I'm in jail, I can't do anything to you to stop you. What are you going to do in jail? You ain't going out there and going, hey, I'm going to stop you. I'm going to hit you with a bat. I'm going to do what I got to do to stop you from killing my father.
I'm going to shoot you in my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you know something? You know what they make me laugh? They go, like the guy we were on the phone with yesterday. Frank, you know how it is. 70 people, supposedly I put away 70 people. Show me where they're getting these numbers from. Who came up with that? I don't know where they get these figures from. 70.
It said you are the most important witness for the government in the history of organized crime.
Yes.
Along with James Comey, too.
So, yes, James Comey. You made that guy.
Hang on.
Congratulations, bro.
I mean, what does that actually mean? What does it mean that you were like the most important government witness?
I get that. How did that statement even come to the public?
Okay.
How did something like that happen?
So then am I responsible for Trump getting reelected in 2016?
Probably, yeah.
Because of James Comey?
Yeah, because of Comey.
Let's really go.
Yeah.
Let's really stretch this out.
Stretch the crap.
Let's really
out of
stretch this. Somebody stretched it to 70 guys. I don't know who that is.
That's amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
Because there's only really 80 guys. At the time I flipped, I think there was 80 made guys in the Lucchese family.
And
that means only 10 guys will be left.
10 guys, and you're one of them. And so there's only 9 other guys.
9 other guys.
I'm surprised. Maybe next month it'll be 90 guys. There wasn't 90 guys, but
700 guys. Yeah.
What I'm saying is, almost going like, who do we contact to find out who these 70 people are?
Who came up with this? When he asked me about James Comey.
Yeah, I know. I heard.
You see my face?
Yeah.
Well, my face was there.
So what do I say? Thank you. You said. What do I say now?
Cameras in my face 24/7. But what I'm saying is, he's asked me about James Comey. I'm like, what am I supposed to say to that? Thank you. Like, I don't know what you want me to say. What do I say to that?
How do you answer that question?
James, so then, let's really stretch this out.
You gave James Comey his opportunity to become the FBI director.
Let's thicken this plot,
Frank.
Okay?
Yeah, let's thicken it up.
That means James Comey with the Hillary Clinton emails and all that stuff.
Here we go.
It's your fault.
No, but that's what got Trump reelected in 2016.
There you go. So you had to have something to do with that.
So I, Frank Gioia Jr., is responsible.
We're going to have some fun with this. With
So
comments.
Trump owes me
Trump,
I should
don't-
get invited to Mar-A-Lago.
Yeah. How come you didn't go to Mar-A-Lago?
Listen,
I'm thinking you may get to the White House. I'm thinking you may have to go visit with him.
listen.
Because he's reelected. I mean, you
Well,
know, you got
he's
to go
probably
see him.
watching the podcast right now because he knows how important he is.
Oh,
Yeah, you're
was
watching me with
He's like,
Yeah.
I got to watch this guy, Frank. 'cause he
3,000
helped.
subscribers. You're watching me. What I'm saying is,
Speaking of that, everybody, get on the button and subscribe, will you?
sub whatever.
It's
What I'm saying is the James
subscribe.
Comey thing. I got no. I
never-
never even. That
How
hit
did they
me.
come up with that?
Hit me like a what do you call it? Like a bat in the side of my head.
Yeah, you were like,
So
you were
where is James
disillusioned.
Comey right now?
I don't
Look
know.
at Mike's face. Mike's face
Probably
was like
hiding from
looking around, going,
somebody.
"He's not here."
I'm gonna go look it up.
He's not with us.
Mike's face was, his eyes were going,
Where is
"Well, he's
he?
not here. I don't know where he is."
I don't have him. Is he under the chair?
This is
It's crazy
the
stuff.
stuff that comes out.
It's amazing. Well, like you said it best. A lot of people are trying to make a name for themselves, whether a reporter or someone else coming up with this information.
Yeah, but I mean, come on. Did you ever think? Were you shocked when he asked me that?
Yeah, I even shook my head for a second. I was like, where are they getting? Because at that point, I think it was the third or fourth thing he had said that didn't add up. And I know I don't know where he's getting his information. Obviously, the internet, but not everything we read off of that is accurate either.
What's James Comey?
He was the FBI director.
Okay, but what was his claim to fame?
But he's been
Well, I
erased
think
off
he
the
put-
internet.
But I think he's put a lot of people in
Like
prison.
literally after
You can't find
After
him.
the Vlad interview?
Nothing.
After the Vlad interview?
Maybe that's what did it.
Did he
Comey
do
was
a
like,
Vlad
now I'm
interview?
associated with this mobster guy. How did that happen?